Chill here with Sirius Taurus Moon Mercury hour. Mercury ruling ascendant and midheaven and is in 5 degrees Sag. Retrograde separating from conjunction with Mars. Now here's the thing. There is something about Chernobyl coming up. Shout out to Light. There is something about Chernobyl coming out. Because the ideal, first of all, who funded? We all know which oil company. We all know where and how did that oil company made the money. I was talking about the Frankenstein story about being a perpetrator, but there's a bigger dory, and it's the story of radiation. Does one perpetuate the evil into which they were born? Now, I'm saying that I will myself, it's my Pluto square, so I will have to meditate on that myself. I was born in around 1984, so I will have to meditate around those things myself, because probably there's something there for me as well. Okay, but the previous thing I definitely dealt with that, with all of the shadows related to that I dealt with, which is a significant amount of shadows, and I really am grateful for people like Anneke Lucas, and went through impossible several years, but hey, the world has went through impossible several years, so it's not a sob story, it's just, everybody went through, so, unfortunately, a lot of them, billions of them even didn't survive. So, but I got, when it came, and I'll begin with the story with Chernobyl, and then I will myself have to meditate, how does that relate, or what patterns can I find there about my life trajectory. And this is where Chernobyl was basically a story of leaked radiation, nuclear radiation, of something that was funded by the very oil companies that made their wealth by doing Nazi occultism in praxis. I know they were Jews, but the occultism that they practiced is Aleister Crowley, which inspired Hitler. So it is, and everybody Nazi, and so they definitely got the wealth. They definitely got the control. They definitely got, okay. Now, certain people were born into that and were affected by that very radiation. Now, here's the thing about it. I talked about the nuclear level. It permeates the nuclear level, okay? The cell level, cellular level, nuclear level, that's Pluto. Radiation, Neptune. So these people on their Pluto square and Neptune square, now, of course, to somewhat degree, I'm one of them. Okay, I was living far, far away from Chernobyl, but it doesn't exempt me, and I'm highly affected by Pluto and Neptune. So these people, okay, perhaps this is why I see global total nuclear holocaust with no margins as even better to certain other timelines that are operating in the world. Is very, and I love life, and I want the best for humanity, and myself being a part of this thing called humanity, and here's the thing. And I think this is a pretty good depiction of that energy reading. And here's the thing. Being the Rockefeller at this day and age is not impossible. Okay? Like, there's that timeline, there's that possibility. And would it be going like the previous timeline went? I don't know. Okay, like I'm openly saying that. I don't know. Are we going to be trading oil and gas? I hope not. In fact, I think there would be serious consequences to that because we have accumulated several centuries that are going to kaboom on us. And that's not a bad thing. But hey, I wouldn't want to be in the margins of that kaboom either. Maybe I am. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. But here's the thing. One has to ask themselves, as they were born into that radiation and they knew their life trajectory, and they knew how that played a part in how they feel about everything today. Okay, and I'm not making a declaration here from like, I don't know. I don't know how they felt. I know that they know how they feel. It's not me knowing how they feel. Okay, they know more than me what that meant. Do they want to perpetuate that evil? Because if they will, they'll have a competitor. and and that competitor could be an even bigger devil. It only takes one Chernobyl, which, by the way, has already leaked again. It lost its roof. Don't ask a NATO patriot. Nee. We said we're not going to go into assumptions. And yet here we are. So they have to ask themselves. Now, for me, it's kind of a eureka because I'm going to have to ask myself the same questions. What was the dumb fuckery that I was born into? And am I partaking in perpetuating that? So that would be a good open-ended question that could help me, with Pluto being in my 12th house, transmute some of the things that perhaps are blind spots to me. So now, just tending to that question, because of the involvement of Neptune, because of radiation, the element of Neptune, just tending to that question, and even surrendering that question. Okay, kind of like tending to that, meditating on that, and releasing, letting. I know letting go is a difficult word with that context, but Yeah, I know the Pluto Scorpios, but here's the thing. Just standing to that already opens a hidden wealth of points of interferences neither me nor the audience thought about. Now, I'm receiving that somebody has a certain addiction. They have addiction to porn or something. And addiction is lack of connection. Okay? From my perspective, it could be preparing me to mass death of people that would have like addiction to violence. Because from my point of view, it would be like, okay, at least they don't suffer anymore. I was thinking about the Russian women that they were voting for the leaders that would make a big war because then these guys would just go to the war. Not so that they will die even, just so that they wouldn't be um, violent. Um, and again, also Russian people died at the war and so on and so forth. And of course it affected Russian women. Um, but this is the issue here because somebody's addiction got so much so that they are permeating somebody's astral and are addicted to that. That, when I talked about people not being able to enjoy their wealth, that's what I meant. Okay, that they're basically, even in the astral, don't have rest or self-trust because they are occupied by demons that they themselves summoned. Now, it's very likely at some point there were rituals done on them. I don't know. But about this really, okay, this thing is perpetuating nuclear holocaust. This timeline is nuclear holocaust. And these people's energy is being harvested to create a nuclear holocaust for their bunkers. For their bunkers. Somebody got all the way to buying a bunker, being in a bunker. Because they've permeated so many levels of being of people. Okay, and here is not about the identity of who is doing what. It's like those people that are consciously doing those things, their bunkers are being flooded. Their bunkers are being flooded. And they're being kept at state of addiction. Okay, think about, I'm pretty boring. I'm not a porn watcher, so I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't. I'm kind of this very boring person. Um, and so, but here's the thing: they're being kept at this addiction that is causing rituals to be done on them. But the rituals are not done on them by the innocent people that they violate their boundaries, but actually by third parties that are summoning, how should I say that? Third parties could be doing an incubus or a succubus on people that watch porn or watch people through, all the surveillance stuff. And they're using their sexual fantasies to cause physical harm to their wealth and net worth. It's beyond extortion cult. There's actual physical damage to the net worth, and particularly the safe spaces, because they invade safe spaces, and therefore the places where they go to for safe spaces is being invaded right now. Particularly those that have been haters, not just in emotion but in action, that they've been acting on being a hater. It's a combination of something very simple, like watching a content creator and being a hater, and something very complicated, like somebody watching someone through surveillance or astral and being addicted. It's like that person just living their life is their porn, and by third party witchcraft is done on them. Oh, because this is the way of certain people to gain their independence. It's the way of the people to liberate themselves from the people that are at the wealth consolidation level of trafficking them. It's a diversion tactic that they're supposed to be all trying to harass, trying to this, addicted to causing harm to targeted individuals or just people like, women or men or whatnot. And there's a third party operating in the background to permeate all their goals. Atlantis is coming up. Alaska, Atlantis, I don't know. Because people understand that they are going to be betrayed and or invaded. Moon is approaching Ketu, with Mercury in Sag. Midheaven next to Aldebaran. People are going to lose land because of questions of freedom. They understand that human rights equals land. Human rights, the coming 7 years, human rights equal land. And this means that to have, keep, and maintain land, they have to have, keep, and maintain human rights. And a lot of them being told otherwise, and a lot of them are too busy being addicted and that sort of perceived freedom will cost them their land and bunkers. But this is true. The chart is the chart and the sea is the sea. The flute is underground. Okay, the flute is underground. They were their flute. Oh, okay. I need a skibidi toilet generation. They have better insight to that than me. Where the Pluto Scorpios? Wait a second. They're, oh my God, they want to, okay, this is the people that they keep kind of stored to attack, okay? They're not really controlling them the way that they think they do. And the flute is underground. There is a mysterious mass death underground. Underneath the ocean even. But it could have to do with cities. Not yet cities, but Uranus said now will be cities. And land, farmland, where the bunkers are. Okay, the infrastructure is not really well thought out, is what I'm saying. Underground. Okay, there's people think about maritime borders, but this is something of the underground, and there are not really borders there. Okay, not as they set them to be. Something that operates differently. Water fluids, icebergs, like shifting of the timeline associated with that. Oh. Okay. I said something that the gods that they sacrifice people to are going to abandon them. This changes geostatic current, and it affects nervous system, and it deprograms. Okay, frequency. And here, oh, okay, they have certain people that were ritually abused have tapped into certain frequencies. Natural disasters are a higher form of the same frequency, are a slightly higher vibration of the same frequency. And here's the thing, they were doing that to bring natural disasters as well, but they didn't mean for them to be in the place where they see it now. And those natural disasters are acting as jammers to the frequencies of the mind control. Good morning, good evening, good night. That's what I have to say.